It is Monday, October 23rd, 2023. We are here for the PBA and City of Port Orange Union negotiations. John McKinney, Assistant City Manager.
Carly Meek, Assistant City Attorney.
Candace Day, State Sergeant Nolan.
Greg Forehand, PBA.
Warren Corbin, POPD Lieutenant.
Manny Marino, Chief of Police. You're part of it?
Lieutenant Trinacosta.
How are y'all doing today?
Yeah,
We'll know in a minute. Oh.
yeah, we're fitting to find out. I'm still sweating. It is warm. 97 in Roosevelt.
No, you still didn't get the air
AC.
conditioner fixed?
No, it's going to be sometime.
Should ask for a bigger raise just for the hardship conditions. What I got a kick out of is the English government paid extra pay for tropical environment for their diplomats that work in Washington, D.C. I go, if you think D.C. is a tropical environment, I guess compared to England it is.
Yeah.
Well, you know, that's another story. I just flew in and out of Reagan and Dulles in the last 3 days, so.
I bet that was fun.
Okay, well, I can tell you this has been updated, so.
Okay.
Just give it a few minutes and maybe an update.
Sure.
That way if there's changes. So anyway, I printed a couple of copies of this. So here's your copy. It doesn't have the comments or anything.
Okay.
I have another copy there, and Chief, feel free. So anyway, from our last meeting, I just want to go through a couple of things in here. So on this, so seeing that we did receive the language or the email regarding going to impasse, the city attorney has requested that we go through this entire document, and any article that is been TA'd, and I'll bring this up here too. Of course, it's not going to be updated because I had other, oh, there it goes. See, let it sit for a while. So I'll pull this up here, and actually I did print copies of it too. There's a copy. So even though when we go through this, you can see that we went through here, and these are the dates that we said that there were no change. So we did not specifically talk about any of these. However, I've been requested by the city attorney that we still have to go through each one of these, and he wants them each signed as being they were agreed to as no change, because that's not good enough. He literally wants everything to be
Initials on there.
Yes, sir.
Ordinarily what we do is we kind of do just the opposite. I mean, for impasse, we're going to say, all right, these are the articles that we're going to impasse on. This is our proposal. That's your proposal. Rather than go through every single one and sit here for how long?
Well, I can tell you that I did this for the other two unions when we went through, when we were all said and done, and it took us about 5 minutes to initial everything. So the advice of the city attorney is that, so that's what I'm asking for that. The other thing too is it was going through here, and we went through all of this, Warren, and when we got to Article 26, when we were going through this the other day, is that there are items in there that he wasn't sure about. So there is a new proposal for Article 26, specifically 26.2 was the main issue. So that needs to be looked at as well. So I'll start right with, we'll go to hours of work. Article 17. So on Article 17, the city attorney has been going back and forth between me, Sharon, and the city manager. So he is working to resolve updating policy 1-37. As we went through last meeting, fully aware that there were things that the city attorney wanted to be changed in that. So he was asking some clarification questions on Friday, so I expect that to be completed here. Did he give you an estimated time of completion, did you hear?
No.
I know he's working on it, so that is forthcoming.
Yeah, if it is in writing what he said it's gonna be verbally, then we got no issue with that. We're
Yeah,
good to go.
yeah.
But
I
just
can
gotta
tell
see.
you that the memo that went out for Hurricane Nicole, Idalia,
Idalia.
was what is going to be in that policy. So if you look at what we wrote last year for Ian,
Mhm.
Nicole was a modification, simplification
Right.
of Ian. You came in and worked, and you were paid time and a half, no questions whether you were working the event or you were on your normal shift.
Right.
Then for Idalia, if you'll recall, there was no change to that language, but the city manager said, okay, if you were required to work and you got to stay home, not only are we going to give you time and a half, but you also got an hour for hour of comp time to be used at a later date. So that was the differentiation, you know, because I mean, it's great. You got an extra half time of hour, you know, of pay, but we're going to give you some time to take off at a later date. So I thought that was a great incentive. You know, he led me to a particular policy from an entity he had worked on previously, and I copied that lock, stock, and barrel. I thought that was another generous add-on to 1-37.
Yes.
So-
I agree.
so-
The only hang up we got with that
You
is
wanna
it's
see
not
it in
simple.
writing.
Yep. I just need to see
Yep.
it, that's all. and
We
then we'll
agree.
sign off on it.
We agree. We took care of vehicle, took care of sick. So go to Article 24. So we went through looking at City of Daytona. I have it right here. On the City of Daytona, because we looked at all the information, City of Daytona does pay based on time and grade of the position. But what's also in that what is in their pay I did print it, I just didn't grab it off the printer before running it up here. It also includes overtime, outside detail, education incentive, state incentive, cell phone stipend, and other pay that they're receiving. So, you know, it's not an apple for apple. There's a lot of items that are in there that, you know, is on top of their base salary. I do have their base salaries here. And, you know, we were able to go back through and look at it. And when I look at the pay, we have lieutenants that have been there as long as 2008, and several that were hired just within the last 7 months. So when we went through it and looked at it, we said, okay, there's obviously a time and grade component. So we went through and looked to be comparable, and we've come up with these suggested or proposed rates of pay based on time and grade, page 42.
I'm looking at something
Oh,
else.
sorry. And then, so that's our proposal to go into effect based on time and grade. And what we would do is, if your time and grade, if you were to be, your next step would be December 15th, you're a year 5, then the proposed would be, we would just go ahead like we did with IUPA and advance you, if you would like, to the new time and grade effective upon ratification of this agreement. The other thing that it did is As I stated at the last meeting, we know that under the current 24-1, there was questions regarding when a new lieutenant was hired, how that would go into play. So this also handles that, is that if a lieutenant is hired, they're hired at a probationary rate, and then once they're out of probation, they go to a step 1. Then the other proposal is that for year 2, we're still providing a 5% increase. So for 24-2, that would show that they would go into, the rates would be changed, base pay would change based on that 5%.
That's lower than what they offered before, is
Yeah.
it not? It's way lower than what they offered before.
Yep. So.
So you're going backwards?
You're going backwards.
That's not necessarily true on
That's
all
100% true.
time and grade. So
Well,
you've been in your position.
We never discussed time.
Well, that's,
Yep. Well, again,
Well,
this is a new proposal.
yeah. Let 'em
Based
finish
on-
his- let 'em
based
finish
on
the proposal,
statements
and then-
provided last time.
Then we'll respond.
Yeah, it's all based on last time.
Okay.
And we went back and we looked at how other agencies pay, and it was based on time and grade. So we're going to propose the time and grade scenario. I updated Warren 24-5 per our conversation. I added the crisis negotiation team. I also, as I stated, I put it in alphabetical order so that if we're looking for the items, it's a little bit more easy to understand. Nothing else changed on there. Article 25, I just again want to reiterate that, and maybe it's easier to see on this one, is that Article 25.1 specifically states that you will receive a pension as adopted by ordinance. So that's very clear in 25.1 that you're provided with a pension. 25.2, it would be the city's stance that we would like to delete that in its entirety, because all it is a copy and paste of the current ordinance. None of our other CBAs have it. We would like that for consideration. Everything in here also would have to be amended too, based on whether or not y'all approve the 20 and out, the drop, and when we update the COLA. So there's a lot of language within 25.2 that would have to be amended anyway in the near short term.
So you're saying 25.1, as it says, pensions and other retirement benefits for bargaining employees not specifically set forth in this labor agreement are as set forth in the police pension fund ordinance.
Yes, sir. That's
Okay.
what we're wanting to look to go to.
Okay, which means if the pension fund ordinance changed, pension benefits change.
I can't change it without approval of the pension. City can't take away a benefit without approval by the board, pension board.
So you're saying our side should waive our right to negotiate over a change and just let it be in the hands of the board?
Not saying that at all, sir.
That's-
I'm just saying that there's no reason to have it duplicated if it's approved.
There is
under-
absolutely a reason
Do
to.
you understand?
Because it memorializes it on the day we sign the contract, and it can't be
Yep.
changed for the terms of the
Okay,
contract.
so go back to the very last couple of pages of go back to the last couple of pages of the other document. Below your hand, go to the duration article, please.
The duration.
No, not here. Just give me those 3 sheets back, please.
The
And go to
duration.
the duration article in the
the
packet
document.
right there.
Okay, I will get there, but
Yeah, I mean, no
duration's
rush.
gonna tell us how long the contract goes.
Well, they added it, but they did this in the April contract too, where that's where they added the changes.
Yep. Page 70. So, maybe it's not your page 70 because yours is here, you can see mine. There it
Okay,
is, that's
I got it.
Okay. So on the recommendation of our pension attorney, when the other bargaining unit accepted the changes to the pension, this is where it was memorialized. So once this is put into place and adopted, we go and make the ordinance, then when we go under our next contract amendment, then that old language would disappear, that was no longer applicable. So that was the recommendation that we received from the pension attorney on how to memorialize change of benefits.
Well, we're not gonna accept that.
That's fine. I'm good with it. I'm nothing more than a suggestion. Okay, so then I will need to go through and on pages 45, 46, 47, I will make amended language changes to reflect on what we've already put in the duration agreement, so that it's in both places.
Well, yeah.
Because I've got to change.
Well, that assumes we're gonna accept.
Absolutely, but I still have to propose it.
Yeah.
So I have to change 25.2A, C, not right now, but F, K, .3A, that appears to be it. So roughly 5 items. So I will send that to you, and if it's okay, I mean,
But
we
we're
know-
not anywhere near an agreement on
Yeah.
the pension article yet,
Yeah.
so.
Understood, but I've
we
still
can-
got
we
to
can
do that.
Hold off on rewriting that for now,
Okay.
because we're nowhere close.
Okay.
Do we have an answer yet as to the 20 and out? Does that include the COLA and the
So it is the
medical
city's
stipend?
stance that the COLA is to go into effect at 20 years of service.
That is the city's, and how about the medical stipend?
Normal retirement is at 20 years.
Okay.
So everything is being reviewed at 20 years.
Okay. So it is crystal, absolutely positively clear. If one of the lieutenants, if we were agreed to this, was to retire with 20 years of service, they would get their full medical stipend and their full COLA. They would be eligible for a COLA at age 59.
So when we get the secondary study, and again, I am not going to go forth with the study until after we make a little bit more.
Well, okay, well, wait a minute on the study thing, because the tier 1 guys are already entitled to a COLA at 25. So there's a chance they could lose that COLA?
No, sir. So right now, my understanding
Okay.
for the 3 items,
Mm-hmm.
our city attorney has been in contact with your attorney, IUPA's attorney, and they're working on language. So
Okay.
at this point in time, it is, what we're working on is the fact that IUPA has approved the 3 pension changes.
Right.
So those are the only 3 the only group that's entitled to those 3 changes, and that is being reviewed by the city attorney for applicability of it.
Agreed.
So I past that, I can tell you that it is our understanding that the ordinance will go before city council November 14th.
And it's just only those 3 things. As far as like the COLA, we're doing a study as to that
Yep.
before we can even negotiate that. So that's not something
That's
we
for
can-
tier 2 guys.
Correct.
None of the lieutenants are tier
Yep.
2. They're all
Yep.
tier 1. So then again, my question would be,
So right now, the ordinance says 25 years of service.
yes, it does.
It is my anticipation that once the study is completed and city council approves it, all of that language will be changed for the COLA and medical to be attributed to the 20 and out, 20 years of service.
Okay. Here's where I got an issue, right?
Okay.
The guys are guaranteed a COLA right now with
Yes,
no
sir.
changes at 25 years.
That is correct.
There is no guarantee that next year after you do the study, there will be a COLA at 20. None. You didn't give that to us, and it's not, it doesn't say that here.
Yeah,
It would say that you agree to reopen Article 25 after the independent actuarial study. So,
I cannot speak
so
for council.
I
but
understand.
I can tell you they were pretty adamant about the change in a positive way. There was no,
Okay, but obviously I can't sign something that takes away a COLA from my guys, or has the potential to take away a COLA.
nor asking you to.
Well, yeah, you are. That's what you just gave me. That's 100% what you're asking me to do. It says it right here. That's what you want me to agree to, and I
don't
can't
agree-
do that.
I don't agree with you on that.
It's very clear.
If we agree to that, that's what we
Well,
have to
hold
abide
on.
by. correct?
Please read to me what you believe we're trying to do. Ma'am, I'm not trying to take any benefit away from anybody. That's not ever been a topic
For
of
tier 2
conversation.
members. Okay. All right. So as of right now, my guys have a COLA at 25.
That's correct.
Okay.
I am working
There is,
on
so,
getting
but
it
there
moved
is,
to
there is
20.
not an official city stance on whether my guys will get a COLA at 20 if they retire at 20, with no changes if we don't agree to this.
They are not entitled to a COLA at
Until-
20 years at this point in time.
Correct. That's what I needed to know.
We are moving to go to a 20-year COLA. I cannot do that per direction until after I receive the secondary review by an outside actuary.
Okay, we already get a COLA,
Correct.
right?
Yes,
You're studying it for tier 2 guys.
that's correct.
What about the tier 1 guys? There's nothing in here that protects the tier 1 guys.
I have no problem adding it for tier 1 and 2.
But then I'm going to, we're looking at it at 20 years and not a guaranteed COLA anymore, right? Because here's the thing, if I sign that, then the guaranteed COLA at 25 goes away, right? And I'm signing it on a promise that maybe we'll do it next year. I can't do that. You following?
But right now, this is COLA for tier 2 members. It does
You're
not
looking at it,
change.
right. Tier 2
does-
members
right.
don't have a COLA.
We are not looking to change anything for a tier 1 COLA.
Then that's at 25,
Yes, sir.
and it'll stay there.
Hold on, but I've also stated to you, I am looking to go to 20 for everybody.
I understand what you're stating to me.
Right.
Follow
So-
what I'm saying, right? Right now, my guys are guaranteed a COLA at 25 years. If I agree to this, my guys are not only no longer guaranteed that COLA at 25, they're not guaranteed the COLA at 20. The only thing they're guaranteed is that you're going to do a study. Am I reading that wrong? Do you have a different interpretation than I do of it?
I believe so. but
Okay. Well, I
Warren,
understand.
it's a matter of making sure it's covered, because I am not trying to take anything away from anyone.
The city's intent was to give the benefit at the.
Well, then,
20, so, and-
then that's fine. Then write it in here and we'll sign it.
Oh, the COLA portion though.
Right, we already have a COLA.
Yeah, no one's trying to take it away. I understand your point to protect it.
Yeah, I have to protect it, right?
Yep.
Okay. So when I go back, and that language covers moving to a study, but it doesn't cover moving it out of the 25. right? For table members,
What
the
page
study
was
will
that?
include moving the current, I think that's years, from 25 years of service to 20. That I think would at least
May I?
cover
Here,
the,
if you give me the, I'll
Sure.
type it on the screen.
yeah. That at least would cover, so we don't lose the 25. But that, yes.
That better?
This is the only contract that I know of that would be putting details of pension in the duration article of the contract. The whole idea of a freaking table of contents is so that the average officer can go, what's my contract say? He's gonna go to the retirement part. The last place he's gonna look is the duration part. Just in concept, I disagree with just about everything I'm hearing. Why would you put details of the pension in the duration article? Answer me that.
I took it on the advice of the pension attorney, sir.
And the pension attorney knows nothing about collective bargaining agreements.
Well,
This is what's going in a collective bargaining agreement, not in a pension
In your
ordinance.
case, sir, you have certain items, as we said in Article 25, that it would be moved to there too.
Can you take a picture of this and send it in the group chat? The time of your proposals. Mine, for some reason, won't send. I'm actually not surprised. My $20 pen. Okay. So how about the medical stipend? Would that be at 20? Have you gotten direction on that?
No, sir, but that's all part of the same thing, moving everything to normal retirement. So
Right.
we will.
But if my guys sign today,
Hold on. Can I, give me a second
Sure.
to pull up the ordinance?
sure.
Without looking through all of it, do you know exactly what
Yeah,
part of the
it
ordinance?
says the same thing, that it's at 25 years we get the medical stipend. It's really clear, it's spelled out at 25 years of service. Thank you.
H, Article 25H. Are you looking at the ordinance?
Yeah, I want to
Yeah.
see the actual ordinance.
Yeah, it's the same one.
I feel like we're going backwards today. You know, we'll stick on the pension for now, and then we'll talk about the wages when we get done with that. But in the pension ordinance, the medical stipend, it clearly says it's at 25, but I don't remember.
I believe you.
Yeah, I don't remember
You had to
which
reference
one it's
the
in
actual
there.
article.
Yeah. It kind of rolls because it goes from pre-99, pre-2011, post-2011. There's a bunch of different stuff in that article.
Yes. Okay, because you have a cost of living adjustment.
Right.
You have. Yeah, because here's the drop. Anyway, I would agree to putting in here medical stipend at 20 years of service upon
Will
normal.
be studied, or you
No,
would
no,
agree that we
we'll
would
agree.
get the medical study?
Yes, sir. I mean, I'd find that to be reasonable.
Yeah, if you're wondering, you're talking about $6,000 or so a year, more is what you're talking.
You know, it's got a financial impact, so I would just share
Yeah.
that with the city manager,
Mhm.
and, might be,
Yeah, you're
look
talking
at-
30 grand tops, right? If
Yeah.
all 5 of us left at 20.
yep, so I will take that back to the city manager.
So I'd like to see, if you have them, the base rates you got from Daytona. Because this is nowhere near the base rates that I was provided by Daytona at my public records request. Which I have provided repeatedly. Start my phone and see if that helps. I think I'm getting most of what they're sending, but I don't think my responses are getting out. They are? Yeah. Okay.
And that's just livestock, barrels. That's straight from them, that's not. Forehand, correct? Last
Forehand.
name?
Yes.
I forwarded you exactly what I was provided. And I have zero issues if you want to do a joint email to the city and say, hey, this is what we're asking, so we get the exact same response. I've learned over the years, it's not always how you ask, it's who you ask, and every last one of the other reiterations. And I'll also take your statement to
Okay,
the
that's,
duration being in there.
Oh, yeah, I mean, what most of them
Yeah.
do is kind of like what you have is you say, almost all of them start out saying, okay, the pension as it is remains except as changed as follows. And then you list whatever changes you're making to the pension.
Yep.
You put it all in the pension section.
And I had that, sir, and I was asked to.
Well, and I always like to ask the why. You know, it's like, okay, you got a pension attorney saying, I want it in the duration section of a collective bargaining agreement. Why? Because again, what's the purpose of a collective bargaining agreement? It's so that the parties can understand what their rights and responsibilities are. The parties are a bunch of officers, well, at least this time they're lieutenants who are usually, you know, very on the ball. In mixing stuff up like this is just, it's just not good.
Well,
The other thing that I'll throw at you
Mhm.
for future is when you're gonna come and you know we're gonna sit at the table and talk about changes where you've got page after page after page trying to sit at the table while we're all here when our time is precious and okay, go, all right, what's everything they deleted, and then go through page after page of okay, what's everything that's been added, what's in a sense what was just moved, what was deleted, what was changed. If you guys email that to us a day or two in advance, if you have it, then we can narrow down when we get to the table and say, okay, here's the little place where we have an issue. Because as we sit here and you hand us this, I mean, realistically, I can't go through all this in the half hour that we're here having the discussion and give you any reasonable response to it.
Well, point taken. I can tell you, I've given you hard copies of this at the last few meetings. Nothing has changed until I made the statement to you regarding wages, alcohol, and drug testing. So there's been no other changes previously to it. I will be more than happy to provide that to you.
What essentially is the changes in here on the alcohol and drug testing?
You will definitely want to read that.
You guys
Yep.
came up with all that proposed language.
Hold on. The city attorney was going to be here today and had another meeting conflict, so this came up on,
that was 2022, right? Yeah.
so it really boils down to 26.2A. This article provides police department policy relative to the use of narcotics, illegal drugs, and the abuse of legally prescribed drugs by any member of the department, and sets forth the circumstances in which drug tests will be required. So basically, the interpretation of 26.2A would mean that if you have a medicinal marijuana card that's legally prescribed, then that could be construed as being a acceptable
Right.
thing to take.
Don't do CBD either.
Right,
It's
so
mainly just to make sure it's very, very clear and it's consistent with what the policy's been within the city, because these are safety sensitive, positions.
Yeah.
So,
So basically, we went through this at detail prior, John, with IUPA. So everything that was proposed was the cleanup that was done in the prior contract. So that is lock, stock, and barrel, word for word, everything that is in the IUPA agreement that had been cleaned up several years ago. So the city attorney requested of me that the current drug article, be stricken in its entirety and suggest going with the language that he worked on previously under the alcohol and drug testing article.
So I'm looking at the numbers, the base salary numbers you got from Daytona, and they seem to be actually pretty consistent with the ones I have. What isn't on here is their date of promotion.
I have all of that.
Okay. Because the two that are in the 80s, both promoted in 2022. So they were sergeants. So that's not a full year's pay for them at lieutenant. And then you said that their base salary includes all that stuff. That's their gross salary that includes all that.
Correct. I'm sorry, I just didn't.
Yeah. So their take-home pay, which I didn't even bother to compare our take-home pay to Daytona's, but to be fair, your two lowest paid lieutenants took home 102 and 117 last year from Daytona, and you're offering 91 for a probationary lieutenant. Do you see why that we have an issue, a big one? And those two were sergeants part of the year. They're both promoted in 2022.
Yeah, so I don't know. I'll just read the dates of promotion to the position. 12/20/20, 12/20/20, 6/8/08, 11/16/14, 10/13/19, 1/20, 12/20/20, 5/15/22, and 2 on March 12th of this year.
Right. So they were, for fiscal year policies, they were halfway through the year
Yep.
before they promoted.
So,
And they made 86 and 88 base halfway through the year.
and this wage proposal puts the probationary lieutenant at 91. The 2008 police lieutenant base pay, gotta look at both emails. And of course, they didn't do neither one of these the same. So the base pay on their longest tenured lieutenant is $110,000. Well, just shy of $111,000.
Correct. But he made $198,000.
Correct, but that's outside detail, overtime.
Agreed.
Oh, yeah, but
Yeah.
overtime,
Agreed.
since you're not paying your lieutenants overtime, but they still work overtime, let's compare apples to apples. To say, well, wait a minute, well, that guy worked overtime. Well, yeah, he gets that benefit of being paid overtime. Your lieutenants don't.
Yeah, listen, I'm not asking for our lieutenants to make $198,000. That's not what we're asking for. Right? 106.5 is what we're asking for, which is a reasonable amount of money. 91,000 is completely unreasonable. Your senior sergeants, I guarantee you, just working the holidays they have to work and the mandatory overtime they have to work, with the contract they just signed, will make more than $91,000. Your senior sergeant will make more than your lieutenant. Just basic, if he doesn't work any additional overtime than what is required for him to do his job. And by the way, we've never had a probationary lieutenant before, so that's a new,
As we had this conversation at the last meeting, under that particular article, it had questions about how new lieutenants were hired and to make sure that they don't make the same amount as an existing.
right, they
So
can't make
this-
any more than an
Right, so
existing.
this is just a way to differentiate
Okay.
the salaries. So,
I can tell you we're not close on the salaries.
and then,
Is this retaliation?
you know, so based on this, there would be, one lieutenant would be at just under 105,000, one at just over 99,000, two at just under 98,000, and one at just under 94,000.
Which is
So-
about what your sergeant.
So there
your
is
senior
no,
sergeant's gonna make.
there is,
That's about what your senior sergeant's gonna make, is 94. You can give me the 2184 all you want to, but he has to work half the holidays, and he has things that he has to finish that require him to work overtime, and he's gonna be right at 94. That's where he's gonna be. That was my issue when you proposed 98 last time across the board.
I will take an average of the new IUPA agreement and.
You have a
look at-
senior sergeant. You actually have two who will be at 10 years during this agreement. So if you do their 2184 and add the 160,
I'm looking for that file that had the, years of service listed in there. Found it. I won't state the names, but
Mhm.
there's two of them at 9 years, so I
right,
will,
which is what I just said.
yep, just pulling it up so I have it in black and white. many hours for holiday work do you want me, is it, chief?
Well, there's 12 holidays.
12 holidays.
We have,
12.
well, no, not all 12. They're probably gonna work 6. I'm not gonna rip you off.
Okay.
They're probably gonna work 6 because we work rotating schedules. So that's double time and a half for those 6.
Okay, next.
And then, so what I did was this. I averaged all the patrol lieutenants, only the patrol lieutenants, didn't count motors, and didn't count CID because those two, they're all subject to call out.
Yes, sir.
Sergeants, I'm sorry, the patrol sergeants. Just the
Like
patrol
we have a-
sergeants. I just used those 8,
Mhm.
averaged them out, took out the 104 that they're not gonna get now because that's in their contract. And they averaged 160
Of overtime?
of overtime for the year.
So how much overtime do you feel that y'all work a year?
We don't work any, because we're salary.
Okay.
Because we're salary,
Mhm.
we end up flexing the time off that we would otherwise have worked overtime. Right? I can't tell you how much that is. Don't know. Because we end up having, if we have meetings like this, right? Or whatever, we have a command staff meeting on our day off. Right? We have to flex that time off. Maybe it's 2 hours, maybe it's 4. I can't tell you, but if it's on our day off, we have to then flex that time off. We have to flex the holidays off. Right? But all I'm trying to do is give you a realistic perspective of what a sergeant's going to make. And he's gonna average 160 hours overtime, plus the 6 holidays, plus his base pay. And that will be his real base. And it's more than that 91, I'm willing to bet you.
Can we take a break?
Sure.
Thank you.
Well, anyway, to pause this thing, so I have to end it in one. Yeah.